So the Megadeth Remastered came out. Sweet game. I've been playing it a lot at the local arcade. I actually was going to buy one, but it would have been $5,000 on top of a trade-in for my Foo Fighters Pro to get it. And it's like, it's just a lot of money, man. I don't know. These guys, for all you guys that have all these machines all over in your rooms and then you buy the new ones and keep cycling them. Yeah, man, it's just a lot of money. The current news is, I'm having a kid. So we've been hoping to have a kid for about 3 years now. It's finally happening, and what that means for pinball, I'm not exactly sure. I still have some time to, try and crank out some things. I've been working mostly on Pinball Designer, but even at that, it's been, since the trailer release, not as much time as I'd hoped to put in. Most of that time has been put into making the programming interface work. So, without you knowing how to program and do all this stuff, I'm setting up things like how to stack multipliers, how to set different shots in sequence for like multi-ball jackpots, whether they're orders of jackpots or they're just a collection of them where you can shoot any in any random order. There's a bunch of things. I'll show that off here later on. But yeah, Metallica's awesome. So Stern had sent out that email to all their subscribers on their email list about what IPs and themes you want to see coming forward, and you're supposed to vote on it. I don't know what that had as far as bearing for what the direction of the company was going to go, but the elephant in the room is, where the is Megadeth? It seems like a no-brainer. You got 2 releases of Metallica. It's time to do Megadeth. What are you guys doing? It's one of the biggest bands in the world. I mean, you did Iron Maiden. They're equally as big as Iron Maiden. That game was sell a ton. I'd probably actually buy that. If it was a good game, that's the one that I might spend the money. The Metallica game's cool, but Megadeth is just the shit, man. This was interesting. I saw this real quick. It's kind of crazy that just this toy right here is $700 for the Metallica Sparky toy. $700 for a small plastic toy. That's kind of insane. Let's see. Oh, Metallica. Here's a photo here that I took the other day. So my local arcade has had the Metallica game for 2 weeks now. Play count, I don't know, but none of the other games that I've seen come out have this issue. But Metallica, the slingshot rubbers are just being shredded. I don't know if it's a different coil, or it might even look like maybe the cut for the slingshot is a little bit backwards, meaning the hammer can go more forward and stretch out that rubber or something. So people on Pin side had said to go with a 2.5-inch rubber instead of the 2-inch or something like that. And just seems kind of weird that it's already ripping. We had the X-Men game where the auto launch just doesn't work on any game I play. There's 3 out of 3 games that I played where there's been 0% chance that it's gone around. I actually asked the owner about it. He had no idea what I was talking about. And I said, watch, put the coins in, and I just pressed the auto launch button, and I go, look, it doesn't make it. And he's like, wow. As far as that, I could see that getting past internal testing, but I don't understand how the rubbers would rip and you don't, like, either that maybe they're just installing the wrong rubbers. Maybe they just got the wrong bin and they're installing them that way, and for whatever reason, Metallica needs bigger rubbers, I guess, on the slingshots. There was an interview, George Gomez, I'll post a clip if I have it somewhere, but he's like, I don't understand where all these people got this idea that the prices were going to increase this year. And I can tell you, when I called 2 of the 4 dealers in Florida, they were like, hey, if you want the new Metallica game, you want to get it in before the potential price increase. I can't even remember if they said potential. They might have just flat out said price increase. So yeah, they were like, the price is going to go up. So when they say they don't know, it's like, well, these are what your distributors are telling people.
In terms of a price increase or anything imminently, I know people have been running around with rumors saying there's big price increases coming. I don't know where they're getting that one from.
There were some people talking about the Stern node board. They had to get a new node board for one of their games, and how you have to have those little dip switches on the bottom to configure it if it's like board 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 as it goes along. That seemed kind of weird to me, actually, because each board should know, as soon as you plug it in, it should know its spot in the chain. So if this is the first board to talk and it sends a data packet over, it should send a 0 over, and then it goes, okay, 0 just talked to me, so that means I'm 1. Now I'm 1, send 1 over, and now he knows who's talking to who. So all the node board, you shouldn't have to configure them that way. I'm not sure maybe someone will fix that after if they're going to watch this and hear what I'm saying, but you shouldn't have to have a dip switch so that the board knows what its like internal network index or IP is within the pinball machine. That would actually save you getting rid of the dip switch and then having to troubleshoot. Like I said, I've seen this before where people forget to configure a new node board to tell it which board it actually is. Right now, what kind of sucks is, again, I've been trying to be as low bare bones as a chip as possible. And if you look at the RGB LEDs that you see for all the inserts, I don't know what Stern and the other companies are using, but I know a lot of the hobby guys, they'll use what's called a WS2812. It's an RGB LED, and it just takes one cable line that you can clock data on. And based on how quick you clock things in, it knows like, hey, you're sending an R or G or B color to do red, green, or blue. And it's all about these timings. So it kind of knows how to do it. And with that timing is really long. So if you want to clock a whole chain of LEDs, you're going to take a lot of time. So if I have a processor that has like a small loop, that maybe I can, loop through the code on my pinball board. Let's see, I was doing it maybe 10,000 times or so. But then if you have to update these RGB LEDs and they're taking up a ton of time, it stalls your system while it's got to clock it. So what I was doing is using a different RGB LED, which is called a clockable. So you actually have two data lines, and the timing is much more tight because it knows. There's one other interesting thing. I don't know if I told anybody, but when I released Pinball Designer, there was a company that actually reached out to me and said, yeah, we were looking at doing some custom stuff like this. We really wanted to integrate kind of what you're doing and have like, be able to sell custom games to people and stuff. And it'd be really great if you want to work together and whatever. And I don't know, it's kind of weird because it's like, I know their team is more than one person. I'm doing this on the side by myself. My price is cheap compared to theirs. And yeah, I mean, go out there and do the work. Nobody's holding you back from going and learning how to program or do all this. I learned how to program on my own. I learned how to make pinball machines on my own. I learned how to play guitar on my own. I learned how to build guitars on my own. So there's kind of no excuse. I won't say what that company is at all, but I just wanted to give you guys a visual timeline here of kind of, when I say I've been working on this for like 5 years, what that actually means and how much time was put in. So again, it's not like I'm doing this full time for 5 years, and there's a lot of days where I just don't work on it. There's been months where I haven't worked on it, almost a year on some of these. So anyway, I started everything around January 2019. 7 months later, in July of 2019, I went to Southern Fried Gaming. Megadeth was my theme. I had to pick something to do. You see I had a whole design layout. I was starting to work on circuit boards there and whatnot. I was hoping to actually have that running, but I just didn't understand the circuitry at the time to complete that and get it running. Right at the end of 2019, November timeframe, packed everything up and moved to Florida for a new job. I downsized, I had an apartment, everything was packed away. So for a whole year, I didn't even touch pinball at all. Eventually got a house, and then January or February in 2021, I started doing Pinball Eternal. That was a whole bunch of stuff. So again, reaching out to people for licensing music, that takes quite a bit of time. Tracking those people down, designing the game. I've iterated on that game a lot since then, going through those years and further years, iterating on the circuit boards and all the technology and stuff. A lot of this stuff got thrown away. So if you look at the original game, I had a segmented display. I had one that was, I think, eight or 9 digits, and they were really big. So it was something I custom made because I wanted the score to be big. Then I had looked at doing a like 8x2 display. So you have 2 rows of these really big segmented displays. Eventually I threw all this away and went to a Windows-based PC with an LCD so you can get all the cool animations. I'd always talked about doing the custom shop, and I know a lot of people want those type of animations. So it just kind of worked out at the end, but I just wasted a lot of time on all this stuff I threw away. And that goes for a lot of things that I've thrown away over the years. But yeah, with doing that, it's sped up development a lot because I get all of the game code I've written for 25 years in my bedroom. So you're talking like 5,000 hours of code. that just works. And that's why Pinball Designer, I got that up and running right away. And yeah, everything's going to just be amazing from now on, going forward with that. It's much easier to code and debug code and everything. 2023, most of that time, I think I was working that full time through that year. I can't remember, but again, just iterating on things, testing mechs, getting better and better. The beginning of 2024, I had a business partnership that ended, and that was for quite a few parts that I was looking to have done. And with that, I kind of just took like 7 months off. When you start working on parts and they fail, and then eventually you get one to work, and then you got to work on the next part, and then you got to iterate on that and get it to where it's good enough where you're like, okay, I know I can take this to the finish line. Let's work on the next part and the next part, design the game, see what works, cut holes, you know, different mechs that I'm building and testing, and it's a lot of work. So when that that partnership ended, it's like, man, there's more parts I got to build. It's like, when is this going to end? And I took a lot of time off there. And then towards the end of 2024, I just started going back at Pinball Designer and getting all this programming stuff going and switching to LCD and whatnot. So that's where I'm at right now. So yeah, I showed the game off a lot earlier than I wanted to a couple years ago, but you just never know what's going to happen. You could get hit by a bus, and you know, I built all that and was spending all the time, so I might as well show what I've done and say, you know, here's what I did. It works on all my own tech platform. I wanted people to at least know in case it got lost somewhere. And you know, it's not where I've shown or if anyone thinks I made a mistake. It matters at the end of the day what your product is and that it works. And I think Turner proved that. You know, he made a ton of mistakes, not even in technical stuff, just on business stuff that he should have not done. But, you know, he learned and he turned it around. And, you know, again, it matters at the end of the day what product you have and if it works and if people like it. And it seems like Turner's doing pretty good. He sold out of 100 games, and that's kind of where my goal is, 100 or 200 games. Like a year of volume. I would hope to sell I'll sell as many Pinball Eternals as I can. I'm not on any timeline or contractual basis. I can sell those to the end of time. But I don't want to just scale up to like 1,000 units and then hope that this just works out. So I'd rather build those units over time. Here's just a video from EMG Guitar Pickups. I'll show you. So he's talking about you know, where he started in his garage. He's winding coils, specifically pickup coils for guitars. And eventually he talks about in the video that he scaled up to now he's making like 3,000 or 5,000 coils per day in this company he built.
The operation, coil winding. I don't know how many machines we have, but it's several, and we probably wind neighborhood of 3,000, 5,000 coils a day.
Wow,
like that's a lot.
Okay, so when you first started, like in the garage,
A drill.
really
Yeah.
just
You know, a drill mounted on one of those little Sears drill presses, you know, the little hand one.
So it's totally possible to build anything you want. You know, I'm building pinball coils. I plan to build a similar kind of winding setup that this guy has. And even Kiesel Guitars, there's another company that winds their own guitar pickups. And he'll tell you, like, you know, it's not magic, it's math. You know, you get the raw materials, you figure out what you want to use, you put it together and make a product. And he says, you know, we were like, why can't we just build our own? Let's do it, you know? And that's what they did. So that's kind of my own philosophy here is just build as many parts in-house as I can, see what it costs, see what I can do.
You know, previously, to be honest, you know, Lundgren made some of the best sounding pickups I had ever heard. And you look at those, are, you know, $200, $250 a pickup. And so just listening to those and going, well, why can't we make a pickup that sounds like this? And so the lithiums were born. And we spent so much time. I kept the box for the longest time. I had a box about this big around and about that tall, reject pickups that didn't make it, all the different winds. And so people like to think of pickups like black magic. It's really not. It's math. It's winding, wire type, magnet, and what type of pole piece. It's math. They're very easy to do. And so we spent a lot of time.
Wonderland came out, Wonderland Amusements. They're doing their, smaller scale game. They're building all their own parts. They're doing it in China, which makes it probably a lot cheaper. The labor is probably a lot cheaper. And I'm betting that they're gonna be pretty close to what they're trying to do. Yeah, I can't really give any advice to them or really any critiques about it that I would do with their product. I did reach out to them through an email and I said, hey, this is me. I've been at this for a long time. I don't know if I'll ever take it to a business, but if you guys wanted to pay a consulting fee for me, I could look at your stuff and give you an idea of what you could do. Because I've talked to customers. I know a lot than just like programming stuff. I've learned a lot of things about cabinet designs from people that told me that cabinets used to break if they were built a certain way. So yeah, going to these trade shows for years super early has actually been very beneficial, contrary to what people are saying about Wonderland, that it's stupid that they had a booth so early. But if you just go to a trade show and play some games and walk around, you're not going to just pat people on the back and be like, hey, oh, you like pinball? Hey, what do you think about if I showed you this product? You have to have a booth. You have to be there where people can congregate and talk to you. And it seems like a lot of people did that, and it probably helped them in the long term get some ideas and opinions, and that's kind of the same thing I did. So that's actually the best thing that they have done, is go out there early and kind of understand the market, because you can't build anything if you're just going to wing it and hope everything works. As far as Pinball Designer, for people that are more towards the virtual pinball side, I probably wouldn't be too hopeful. I only have so much time in the day, and again, having a kid, and now I have Pinball Designer that, I had to do a lot of work just to get that out, when my goal was really to get a physical pinball machine company working, not to kind of release all this other stuff. So it's kind of like another product. And on top of that, if I start supporting the best lighting and stuff for a virtual setup, and I know those guys wanted to integrate into all of their software and different things. So if you're looking at it from that side, I don't know when I'll be able to support that. I'd have to be full-time at that point. So in the meantime, what I'm focused on with Pinball Designer is people that want to build physical games or have me design a physical game and build it and ship it to them. I just now got a CNC machine. I got an open builds one. I bought it used off Craigslist, so I still haven't cut anything with it, but I got that a few months ago, and it's just been a long time working with these minuscule tools, just stuff that's not like high tech. I still don't have a pinball rotisserie. So I'm just slowly, gaining more tools and knowledge. I'm kind of at the point where I know how to launch this company. Everything's, there and working. Just taking it to the finish line, and every day that I work, I save a ton of money. So all of that savings helps me to either retire early to do this early, or if I were to just fund this as a side business or go full time, every day I work and can save money, it's a blessing. It's all just saved money ready to go into pinball and start manufacturing and looking at getting a warehouse and stuff. And now that I have this cheap CNC, it just elevates what I can do. I'm looking at, I got a plasma cutter now too, so I can cut metals out. I'm working on getting that set up as a CNC so that I can actually just CNC all the metals, which is what I had talked about for my ramp production. When you make a 3D ramp, it would just know how to export the data and cut it all. But yeah, I haven't done that just yet. I took a trip down to Fort Myers and went to the Pinball Asylum. That was fun. I didn't get to stay there as long as I'd hoped, and I got there a little bit late. But yeah, it was fun seeing a lot of new games that I've never played before. One of those was Galactic Tank Force. And there was another old game that was pretty cool, like Metal Man or something. I'll post some videos of it here. But one other thing is, I knew that the Galactic Tank Force, that the way they did their legs, they were cut different. I don't know who built them, but if you look at them, it's actually just an angle steel. It doesn't have the trim or any stamping, it's just straight. They did that so that they could fit the tank treads on the side. And yeah, I did a lot of walking around and looking at other legs there, because they had a wide variety of different legs and the ways that they're cut and bent and shaped and stamped. So that's one thing I started looking into is I have I think it's a 20-ton press, and I've been looking at bending metal and making different parts. So with the plasma cutter and any of this bending stuff, it kind of gets me to make different parts, metal parts and brackets and stuff. So it's kind of like taking me up to a whole nother level and stuff I can design and build. So this is me going down to the local shop and buying some steel rod. This is 12 foot. I'm cutting it in half just so I can fit it in my car. I had tried wire straightening myself, but it just wasn't working out with the tools I had. And there it is in my garage as a photo afterwards. This right here is the first wire form I bent by hand. I actually took a long time to design a jig that I could customize and move to different places so that I could make a different wire form, and then I could move it and make a completely different one. So you can put these things in and out and bend them by hand, and this is just a snap-in with 3D printed brackets. I'm also looking into doing welding, I said in my last video, which I'm gonna start looking at here pretty soon. So I don't think this is all gonna go away, but you know, having the kids is definitely gonna put a strain on my free time. I've had this itch since I was 16. I wanted to build a video game company, and I go to school, I'd skateboard all day long. When I come back, you know, I was working on learning how to program. I've been doing that every day and every night. I have the knowledge to do that. Then I kind of sidestepped to this to work on pinball machines. And I spent all that time research and development. You know, I just have the itch to do it. I want to know everything about it if I'm going to get into the business. To the few people that think it's stupid to like reinvent the wheel, I don't know what you guys are talking about. This is what everybody that goes to college to learn how to do anything does. You know, whether it's physics, chemistry, electrical stuff, you build a circuit board, you wind coils, you build parts, I mean, this is how you learn how to do stuff. And when you get your hands dirty with it, then you really understand it. And yeah, I mean, I tell everybody that I basically have a degree in pinball engineering. I mean, I know everything that I need to know at this point. I wasn't born with it. I had to spend a ton of time burning parts, destroying parts, electronics catching on fire, like very early on all the time. And yeah.